as the season progresses, staying sharp with the rules of National Federation of High School Basketball rules. Today, let's look at 10 questions to stay sharp. Let's get started right now. Greetings. Welcome back to another episode of the Basketball Rules Expert, the show where we take National Federation of High School Basketball rules, lift them off of the printed page, breathe life into them, simplify, clarify, amplify, so that we can take those rules with us onto the basketball court where it's most important. Greetings again, everybody. My name is Greg Austin with abetterofficial.com. I've been a high school basketball official for over a decade. Consider myself knowledgeable about the rules, and this show is all about helping you on a journey to becoming a basketball rules expert as well. If this is the video content you find valuable as a basketball official, make sure to do all the things, the liking and the subscribing and the notifying, so you don't miss out on any of our new content. We live stream every Wednesday and Friday. Join us for the live stream. Put your voice in the game and we can all get better together. Before we get started, we'd like to thank those who fuel our show, our tremendous show supporters: Scott Burns, Brian Karich, Jeff Wright, Victor Labella, and Jonathan Zukosky. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? You can always. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? There's always an opportunity. I'll put a link down in the show notes below. Awesome. Today we're going to get started and look at play scenarios. Without delay, let's look at our very first play scenario. Team A has a designated spot throw-in along the end line. A1's throw-in pass to A2 is errant. A2 runs towards the sideline, steps out of bounds, jumps, and catches the ball. The officials rule an out-of-bounds violation on Team A and award a throw-in to Team B for a sideline throw-in where the player caught the ball. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Right? We see this question come up a lot, and there's confusion. A throw-in pass is released to a teammate at either the far end of the court or sideline, right? There's a distance. The pass is errant, and the player either touches the ball standing out of bounds or touches the ball with out-of-bounds status. And what do we have here? Is this a throw-in violation or an out-of-bounds violation? If it's a throw-in violation, we're going to go back to the original spot, because the penalty for a throw-in violation is ball to the opposing team at the spot of the throw-in. Or is this an out-of-bounds violation, where the penalty would be a ball to the opposing team at the spot of the out-of-bounds violation? And there's confusion about this play, we find, with officials. But it's important to know here that the key is this is an out-of-bounds violation, not a throw-in violation. And an out-of-bounds violation is going to take us to the spot of the actual out-of-bounds violation. Now, throwers have to release the throw-in pass directly onto the court, and it must be touched, right, on the court, unless it is touched by a player with out-of-bounds status. If the ball went untouched in this situation, let's say sailed into the crowd and remains untouched, then we would have a throw-in violation. But in this instance, where the officials ruled an out-of-bounds violation, were our officials correct? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, they were. Off to a great start, this crew is. Let's look at our very next play scenario. A1's try enters the basket and gets stuck in the net. After a second or two, A2 reacts by contacting the ball so it will pass through. The officials rule a basket interference violation on A2 and award the ball to Team B for an end-line throw-in. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Right? Sometimes the ball is just a little too big and the net is just a little too small and there's some friction, right? And sometimes the ball can get stuck in the net. When it does, and then subsequently a player contacts the ball, do we have a basket interference violation by rule? Now we know that a player cannot contact the basketball while it is on or in the basket, either team. Doing so would be a basket interference violation. But in this instance, the ball had entered the basket and come to rest in the basket. So in this instance, is this a basket interference as the violation as the officials rule? It's important to know that a goal is scored, and understanding the definition of when a goal is scored when the ball passes through or remains in the basket. So in this instance where the ball entered the basket and remained in the basket, even if only for an instant, that goal should be scored. And the subsequent actions then do not rise to the level of a basket interference violation. So in this instance, where the officials ruled a basket interference violation, were the officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. This is an incorrect ruling. We should score that goal, right? The play needs to be resumed. Somebody's going to need to knock the ball out so we can continue. Always our counsel is don't do that, ref, unless leave it to the players. All right, let's move on to another play scenario. A1 is at the free throw line to attempt a final free throw. Just prior to release, the ball slips in A1's hand slightly, and they stop their attempt. B3, in a marked lane space, steps into the lane. The officials rule a delayed violation on B3. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Right? Players at the line, they're doing their pre-shot routine. Everybody on the lane line is anticipating the release and they're poised and ready to go. Player begins their throwing motion, but the ball slips inadvertently, right, affecting the timing of the play, and an opponent of the thrower enters the free throw lane line, or enters the lane rather, prematurely. The officials rule a delayed violation on B3. Well, that really does not sound very fair, right? We know that a thrower is not allowed to fake a throw. They are not allowed to and draw the opponents in. Faking is illegal. Faking by players in the lane. It's a starting line situation. Everybody's at the line, ready to go. They want to beat the other player into the lane, etc. There's a pent-up energy, right? And then on the release, then people are free to go, right? And anything that affects that timing of those players can cause them to violate. And we know that a thrower cannot fake, but did our thrower fake in this instance? No, they did not. It's unfortunate and seems somewhat unfair, but this is a situation where the thrower has not violated. So in this instance where the officials ruled a delayed lane violation, were the officials correct? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, they were. This is a delayed lane violation by rule. It's unfortunate, unlucky, etc. But our thrower has not violated, and our players in marked lane spaces bear the responsibility of behaving by rule in this instance. So our officials got it right. All right. Couple of plays down. Let's look at another play scenario. Team A has the ball in the front court. A2 and A3 set a screen near the end line. A1 runs out of bounds around the screening players and receives a pass on the other side. The officials rule a player technical foul on A1. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? This player sounds really familiar, right? Player runs around teammates who are setting a screen, receives the ball on the other side, player technical. That sounds really familiar, so that's got to be right? Well, actually, that is during a throw-in, right? So during a throw-in, a player may not release a throw-in pass and not return to the court. And if they go around, let's say, players in a similar fashion, then it would be, in that instance, a player technical foul by rule. But in this instance, we don't have a throw-in, right? This is just a player simply going out of bounds, gaining an advantage, and returning. This is actually a violation by rule, and it's as simple as that. There is no player technical foul on this play. So when the officials in this instance assessed a player technical foul, were the officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they weren't. This is simply a violation for leaving the court for an unauthorized reason, and the ball should be awarded to the opponent at the spot of the violation, which would be, I assume, where the player actually left the court, not where they ultimately caught the ball. So in this instance, our officials were incorrect. Moving on, let's look at another play scenario. A1 is fouled by B1 during rebounding action. The players then go face-to-face and double technical fouls are called. The original foul by B1 was the team's 10th foul. The officials report all fouls, then resume the game with 2 free throws by A1 with players filling marked lane spaces. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Right? So rebounding action, a player is fouled. It is the 10th foul on the opposing team. This player would be awarded 2 bonus free throws by rule. But after the foul, 2 players go face-to-face and are assessed a technical foul each. A double technical foul is ruled. So in this instance, the officials said, those 2 penalties, quote unquote, offset, and we're going to resume the game with those bonus free throws that were merited free throws. So in this instance, were the officials correct? Yes or no, right? If there's anything that we could take with us onto the court, double technical, double foul, double flagrant, double always means resume at the point of interruption. On this play, the point of interruption was player being fouled and being awarded merited bonus free throws. So the officials in this instance adjudicated the play correctly and said we're going to report all the fouls, the original foul that led to the bonus free throws, the player technical fouls, which go against the players, go against their count towards 5 towards disqualification, go to the team fouls towards bonus, etc. And then we're going to resume at our point of interruption. The point of interruption on this play was awarding of 2 merited bonus free throws. So in this instance where the officials made that ruling, were the officials correct? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, they were. Right. We like looking and analyzing plays for their rules reference. Let's find another play to look at. Let's look at our next one. A1 drives and lays the ball off the backboard. B2 slaps the ball just after it contacts the backboard while the ball is still on the way up. The officials rule a goaltending violation since the ball was contacted after it contacted the backboard. Were the officials correct in this ruling, yes or no? Well, this sounds like it's correct. I mean, it had contacted the backboard, right? And then the player contacted it. I mean, I've heard over and over and over and over and over again that the ball can't be contacted after it contacts the backboard. I've heard that. But in National Federation of High School Basketball rules, this is not a goaltending violation. For the ball to and the distinction, it's important why people think it is. The distinction is that to have a goaltending violation, the ball must be on its downward flight, have a chance to go in, right? Perfect. This ball was still on its upward flight. It may have had a chance to go in, but since it was on its upward flight or was not yet on its downward flight, we cannot have a goaltending violation by rule in National Federation of High School Basketball rules. The key distinction, the thing to understand, is at other levels, NBA, NCAA, right, this would be a goaltending violation. And who watches, the games at that level? All of the stakeholders in the game. This becomes an everybody knows rule. But the distinction is that at those rule sets, they say once the ball contacts the backboard, then by rule it is to be considered on its downward flight, right? But there's no such restriction in high school rules. So in this situation where the officials ruled a goaltending violation, were the officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. Next question. A1 is disqualified for receiving a fifth personal foul. Later in the game, A1 re-enters the game as a substitute. The officials recognize it at the first dead ball after A1 re-entered the game. The officials rule a direct technical foul on the head coach of Team A. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? This is a really unusual situation, right? Player's disqualified, coach, that player has 5. And then later in the game, they return, they re-enter as a sub. We don't recognize it when we bring them in. They play, they participate in the game, and at some point, the officials are notified or recognize that the player has re-entered the game, and that player was disqualified. The officials recognize this during the dead ball and assess a direct technical foul on the head coach. Is that the appropriate ruling in this instance? By rule, this is the correct ruling. If a player is disqualified and then participates further in the game, that responsibility for that player is the responsibility of the head coach. This is a direct technical foul on the head coach by rule. So the officials would assess the technical foul, replace that player who was ineligible to participate, administer the technical foul free throws, and resume the game from there. And of course, the coach would have lost at this point their privilege to stand and coach their team. So in this instance, where the officials assessed that direct technical foul, were they correct? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, they were. All right, another play scenario is on tap. Let's take a look. Upon returning to the court prior to the third period, the officials are informed that the official scorer took the book with them to the locker room at halftime. The officials rule a team technical foul on the home team and begin the third period with free throws. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Great scenario. one that brings forward a lot of different aspects of officiating, right? Where have we been? We have been in the locker room for halftime. We come out, right? We're used to that energy, etc. We're going to get reacclimated with the environment, make sure everything's ready to begin the third period. And we get notified that oftentimes the opposing coach or the opposing scorer that, hey, they took the book with them to the locker room at halftime, right? So the home team supplies the scorer. Sometimes that scorer is closely affiliated with the team, and they went with the team and they brought the book with them. Now, we're sort of punched in the nose, as we like to say, by this play scenario. We were ready to come out and officiate the game, but I wasn't ready for this. This is like, how do we handle this situation by rule, right? And there's case play that supports this. In this instance, this is an illegal activity, but it is an illegal activity that has no penalty. There's no penalty involved for this action. So what do we have? We have a potentially compromised scorebook, right? In this instance, we would want to have our visitors, right, ensure that we have accuracy of the scorebook. This could have been an innocent mistake by the scorer, right? They just went with the team and they grabbed the scorebook and brought it with them. They didn't know they weren't supposed to, right? They made no changes. Nothing is incorrect, right? But we need to entertain the option in this instance if we do feel there's any issue with the correctness of the book, to then adopt the visiting scorekeeper as the official book. We have the opportunity to do that. We could also just inform the coach, that is illegal activity. Don't do that again, right? We can't have that, etc. So in this instance where the officials assessed a team technical foul for this action, were the officials correct, yes or no? No. No, they were not. This is a restriction without a penalty, right? One of many in National Federation of High School, right? A team must have a solid division line on the court. That is required. In the absence, like sometimes the logo, there's no division line going through the logo on older courts. Is there a penalty for that? No. The official scorer must wear a striped shirt. In the absence of the scorer wearing a striped shirt, is there any penalty for that? No. No, there is not. 8 down. 2 to go. Our penultimate rule scenario. Let's take a look. After Team A had previously been given a warning for delay for breaking the throw-in plane during a throw-in, a Team B throw-in in the first half, after it, Team A had previously been given a warning for delay for breaking the throw-in plane during a Team B throw-in in the first half, A1 reaches through the boundary on a Team B throw-in during the second half. The officials rule a team technical foul on Team A, 2 free throws, and the ball at the division line. Were the officials correct? Yes or no, right? A warning for delay had been given by the officials in the game for a player breaking the boundary plane. What are the possible warnings for delay? Breaking the ball from the... I'm not going to cover those. Why? Because I can have a brain fart. So the warning had been issued previously in the game, and then a subsequent action that would rise to the level of a delay of game warning occurs again, right? This results in a team technical foul by rule. The penalty for a team technical foul is 2 free throws. Any player or eligible substitute may attempt those free throws, and the play resumes with a division line throw-in opposite the table. So in this instance, when the officials ruled a team technical, were the officials correct, yes or no? Yes. Yes, they were. It's here. It's here. Our final rules play scenario. Team A has a non-designated spot throw-in along the end line. A1's long throw-in pass sails over the head of teammate A2 near the sideline in the front court. The officials rule an out-of-bounds violation on Team A and award a throw-in to Team B for a sideline throw-in. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? All right, we've come full circle. Our first play was something similar, right? In this instance, the thrower on a designated spot throws the ball towards a teammate, but it goes untouched, out of bounds, and lands out of bounds. The officials rule an out of bounds violation and award the throw-in at the spot where the ball went out of bounds. Were the officials correct in this instance? Yes or no? There's a distinction here. This is not a out of bounds violation because the ball was not touched. It's the responsibility of the throwing team for the ball to be touched on their throw. Must be touched by a player. In the absence of that, this is a throw-in violation by rule. The penalty for a throw-in violation, even though the ball may travel very far, all the way to the other end line, or in this case, the sideline, right? Even though the ball travels a great distance here, this is a throw-in violation. Throw-in violation, award the ball to the opponent at the spot of the throw-in. Always, every throw-in violation. What can we have? We can have the play that we have in the here. I throw the ball, it inadvertently goes in the basket. What is it? Throw-in violation. It gets lodged between the basket and the backboard. What is it? Throw-in violation, right? In these instances, the violation sort of seems to occur at the spot, the end spot, but if it's a throw-in violation, always, always, always back at the spot of the throw-in. Thank you for joining us today on the Basketball Rules Expert. If this is the video content you find valuable as a basketball official, now's the time. Do all the things. Hit like. Helps get us the video in front of more basketball officials. Subscribe and notify. Join us for the live stream. We live stream every Wednesday and Friday. Put your voice in the game, and we can all get better together. Allow me to thank our tremendous show supporters: Scott Burns, Brian Karich, Jeff Wright, Victor Labella, and Jonathan Zukosky. Much appreciated and much love. If you want to support the show, you can always head to abetterofficial.com/coffee. There's a link in the show notes below, and I'll put one up above. Awesome. We have additional video content available for you here. I've made this choice. YouTube made this choice. You make your choice. We'll see you in the very next one. Take care.